Okay, and we're live. So, thank you guys for joining us in another podcast. Today's topic is going to be I'm interested, I'm very curious to see everybody else's answers. But today's is going to be about gaming guilty pleasures or games that you play that your gaming circle frowns upon. So, whichever kind of applies. Cuz not everybody has gaming circles and not everybody has guilty pleasures. So, you kind of pick your poison. So, I'm joined today by the usual participants in Esoteric Skills from Logical Gamers TV, Gunner
Okay.
EOS, and How to Wolf. I'm going to start things off because I'm already talking. So, guilty pleasure that I think my gaming circle does not understand, or a game that they maybe not necessarily frown upon, but they just don't understand or don't partake in, would be survival games. For some reason, I find a lot of joy and excitement in struggling in a game and trying to just live to the next day in a game like The Forest or Stranded Deep or Green Hell or Don't Starve. Like, there's something about those games that's a lot of fun. Like, you could die at any moment. Like, there is no scripted event, there is no boss battles per se. It's just you versus the game mechanics, literally. And you're just trying to fight against the game mechanics and find an advantage or an upper hand to survive in the game. I think that's kind of, there's something about that that's fascinating, especially somebody who, when I say somebody, I mean me. I love boss battles. It's one of my favorite things in a game. And in survival games, there's really no boss battles. The game is the boss battle. Like, the whole thing is a boss battle. And achieving ultimate survival, like building a base, having like a farm and a food system, and like having an armory when you just started with a stick and a stone, right? Literally a stick and a stone. uh to then have like all these weapons and all this, like, all these options is so sick to me. Like, it's like I could only compare it to people who play RPGs and like to see the progression of their characters. To it kind of scratches that same itch for me personally. Yet
Ah,
none of my friends, which includes all of you, really engage in survival games. There's an
Okay.
exception.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an exception. You know, me and Esoteric have played The Forest together for Halloween, which was a good time. But that's not a game that he would play on his own. We've had that game downloaded to our system for like 3 years, and we now played it together, right? Wolf, he jumped in a game one time of The Forest, and that was the quickest hour and a half that I've seen him play a game for, and never returned to it. Um,
Nah, oh, good.
so it's and it sucks because those games are so much better with friends. But unfortunately for me, my gamer friends aren't really into that kind of game, so I'm stuck kind of playing it with randoms or playing it just alone, which is fine. But yeah, that's survival games. Not even a specific game, but just survival games. So The Forest, Green Hell, Stranded Deep. These are games
What's
that
a
my
survival game
friends.
that you feel like people should play in the very least if they were to try your genre?
The best survival game is The Forest, easily. That
Mm.
game has the best building system. It has a story if you want a story and a definitive ending, if that's what you're looking for. You can play it forever if that's what you're looking for. There's constant threats, so it's not just like you're in this world and you have to figure out how to farm. No, there's an enemy. There's an antagonist. And they
Mm.
also have peaceful mode. So if you want to play peaceful mode and you don't want to have an antagonist and you just want to build, you can do that, right? I think The Forest is like the perfect survival game. So if I had to pick one, that would be it.
hmm.
The Forest for PS4, PS5, and PC. So, who's next? Who wants to talk about their gaming guilty pleasures? Try to keep it PG.
uh,
I'll go.
yeah.
You want to go, Gunner?
No, you can go. I'll go after.
All right. So, a video game that I guess, well, I'm gonna say most of my circle, not all of my circle, but most of my circle, I think frowns upon, especially Blanka Kong, is mobile games.
Me? Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. I hate
I
those
have
games.
never seen him bash or show such disdain against mobile games, against any kind of genre of games than mobile games. Um, I personally like mobile games because you can quickly download them, quickly delete them. Um, you don't really have to commit to them unless, I mean, they're all designed for you to be committed to them with like timed events or limited weapons or heroes if you're playing a what you call a hero collector or a gotcha game. Um, so a lot of those things, a lot of those special things are like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 days, 3 days, you got this much time to get this. Um, so they try to commit you to the game. However, I like the accessibility of picking it up and putting it down whenever I want. It's addictive. The constant grinding or resource collecting, as my circle knows, any kind of game that I play with that aspect to it, I go hard.
Yeah.
I'll grind resources, whether it's EXP or resources to build the characters or to build whatever. I'll make sure that I'll break the game by the time I'm ready to go and do what I have to do in it because of my resource collecting, the amount of time I put into resource collecting. So that's a lot of mobile games. The mobile games that I typically do play are what you call the hero collectors. So those are the ones with the fancy anime-like characters where you collect countless numbers of them that just never seems to end. Um, those games are just I don't know. Again, it's the ones those are the ones that's more geared to just simply grinding. Not like Candy Crush, which is okay, or Tetris mobile, but those kinds of games I really do like. A lot of people I noticed that they don't really like mobile games because of some people will say they're designed to spend money, or they're
I think a lot of
designed
them
for
are.
you to. Yeah, I believe so. I believe a
Yeah.
lot of them are
Yeah.
what they call cash grabbers or something like that.
Yeah, cash grabs or
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of them tend to be carbon copies. Like a lot of them
Mhm.
are the different, quote unquote, but they're really all the same in a way. So those are like things that I've come across from downloading. I must have played over 300 mobile games since I've started playing mobile games about 3 or 4 years ago. Like I'll download a mobile game, play it a week, and then delete it just because it's like, okay, well, I got the gist of this game. I'm over it. um, so I personally have come across mobile games that I had invested into. I feel like the best mobile game that I've ever played is Final Fantasy: The City of Opera Omnia, which is a turn-based
That's a fucking
video.
mouthful.
Yeah, it is, but that's Square Enix for you. But it's based on the Final Fantasy characters, so it's the Final Fantasy universe all together. So you have from the Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy 1 all the way up to what's this prince name? This emo prince, Noctis. All the way up to him.
Noctis, right?
And right. And as Final Fantasy games progress, I would imagine that they would include those recent characters as well. But yeah, I just love the idea of just having that freedom of picking it up, downloading it, playing it for a week, deleting it without a care in the world, no real commitment. I didn't spend $65 or $70 on a disc that I now regret, writers.
That is true.
And so it's for me, that's where I get my fun out of those mobile games. It's just I love video games and I like to be entertained by them. So it's a nice, easy, accessible, quick way for me to find entertainment when I can't pick up my Switch or my PS4. For me.
Makes sense.
So
And then, fun fact for the listeners and viewers: Blanka Kong did play a mobile game longer than any of us here, and I never thought he'd play that one longer than anybody else.
Lies.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Lies.
He
my
played
God.
he played Genshin Impact, the waifu husbando loli collector extraordinaire, longer than anybody here.
That is true.
That is true.
This is true. So
But it was on
what,
console, I guess.
what I will
and he
say
was behind.
is I played it on PS4, so
Okay.
that's one. So to me, it wasn't a mobile game, but it is a mobile game. I'll admit that it is a mobile game, and it's designed as one. Two, I only played with one character. Like I only truly worked on one character, and that's Razor. All the other characters I kind of like. I brought them I leveled them up, but like he was the primary guy, so I didn't fall into the I gotta get more like people. I was just like, what's the fucking point? Like that game is anyway. I'm not gonna go on a tangent on that game, but I played it on PS4. I played it for like 4 or 5 months, like half a year basically. And yeah, I'll never play a game like that ever again. So.
At least you tried. I mean,
I did try it, and I did enjoy it for a time.
Yeah,
you know,
there would be nights where he was talking about Genshin Impact. I'm like, he's still booting that up.
The crack is real.
I think Genshin Impact I've only played for 3 hours, and I stopped. I think it was only a 3-hour investment. I found out that it does something that other hero collectors do, that it doesn't do something that other hero collectors do, and I couldn't deal with it. I don't really care what people have to say. If I can't reset my game to change how the gacha system or what kind of heroes that I've collected in the beginning, I'm not gonna do it. So I stopped. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that game's rough. It looks pretty as hell, but it's rough.
Yeah, I booted it up, and they told me to do something about cooking, and then I just turned it off. I didn't even like play it. I don't even know if it was actually cooking, but it was some shit that I just was like, no. So yeah,
it's very pretty though.
Oh yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Which is how they get you to pull. You want that cute little anime girl. You might just spend $90 or more on her.
Yep. Like Fate Go.
Oh yeah, well, that's a whole nother episode.
That's another episode. So moving on to the next one.
Right. Okay, so I guess I'll go. My guilty pleasure that I truly enjoy, and I think out of our group, the other person that enjoys it is not even here, but I've been playing them for years, are what they're called Mushu games or Dynasty Warriors, or that type of game.
I call
There are
those
certain
one-button
people.
games.
Yeah, there you go. There are certain people here that call it one button games, and I want to say no, you're wrong, but it'd be kind of hypocritical because he's kind of right. It's 2 buttons, and you press them in different orders, and they do cool things. But anyway, I've always loved the Mushu games. For me, it started on Dynasty Warriors 2, back on the PS2. I found them, one, the historical context that is completely overblown. It's based on like a war fought in ancient China. They have one that's about the unification wars in Japan. They have a whole bunch of different. I always found that cool from a historical aspect. I'm a history buff. And then the gameplay, yeah, I'm going to admit, it was really simple. It was pretty much you pick this cool character, he or she swings these cool weapons, you're like destroying thousands of enemy troops at the same time, and you capture the objective and you win. But when I brought it to my group of friends, they were like, the hell is this one button shit? Like, this is all you do is press one button all day and you win? I'm like, no, you press circle and triangle. But they're not with it. But I love them, and I'm glad that they keep going, because now, even though Dynasty Warriors kind of fell off for various reasons, the studio that makes them, Omega Force, they've been given licenses to some iconic franchises. Now I get to play a Legend of Zelda, one of my favorite franchises, in the form of a Mushu game with new DLC. I get to play Fire Emblem, another franchise I like, as a Mushu game. Hell, even the popular Persona game recently had a sequel / spin-off that was a Mushu game. So yeah, they're out there, and for one button fans like myself, we have our games. But no, I tried. I would show it off. Nobody cared about them. They were like, except one friend, and that was it. And to this day, they're like, get this one button game away from me. But I'll take the abuse because I love them. I'll always play Mr. Esoteric.
Well, Telly, just to let you know, I don't necessarily have a beef with the Mushu games. I do like the Gundam Wing ones, like the Gundam ones, because they're closer to the
Oh, that's
show.
right. There's Gundam ones. Thank you for
So
reminding me.
those are the ones I play because it's close to the show. You're able to like shoot up everything with ease. So, Um so for me, I'm kind of like within the circle. I'm kind of like the jack of all trades with some aspects that I don't really uh partake in. So I had to go the route of a particular game that the crew frowns upon, and I decided to go with Kingdom Hearts.
Oh boy.
Exactly. So, for those of you guys who don't know, Kingdom Hearts, it's a RPG created by Square Enix that consists of both Disney and Square Enix characters. Um, and so the first one had your basic, real-time RPG combat along with all the mechanics. Now, that's not the issue at hand. The issue that the crew mostly has is the convoluted story. Okay? So just to give you
Convoluted is an understatement.
so just to give you a brief overview, right? So there's a kid who discovers
There
that
goes the
he's
podcast.
Yeah, do this because
I
I
said
couldn't.
I said I said super brief, okay?
I didn't get it when Square Enix did it. So if you could do it better and explain this shit to me.
Oh no, I'm just giving you the overview of part 1 and I'm going to convey the reason as to why the crew is like, okay, this story makes no sense, right? So,
Can't even do it himself.
so you're a kid who finds out that he is a chosen warrior and he is in possession of the Keyblade. And he also discovers that there are many different worlds aside from his own, that are being like destroyed by creatures known as Heartless. So he's told to embark on this journey. He later discovers that his friends play a pivotal role in the story. One is an antagonist, the other is a key element to restoring balance to the entire world. So he goes on a quest with Donald and Goofy, familiar Disney characters, and that's where it ends. They beat the villain, and that's where it ends. Now, where it becomes convoluted is that we were once told that he's the only Keyblade wielder, and now there are other Keyblade wielders within the world.
Can I cut
Uh,
you there?
uh-huh.
Can I cut? It's not that he's told that he's the only Keyblade warrior. I would understand that if other Keyblade warriors started to appear after he's told he's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
They said he is the last one. There's only one Keyblade. He is the only wielder, and that's what makes him special in the series, which is a fucking lie. But
Yeah,
continue.
it is a lie because as the story progresses, come to find out that he wasn't the chosen one. It was some other character which was in the prequel of one of the games that you acquire, that he was the chosen one, and then he ended up dying and transferring his heart over to this kid, and then this kid dies and he becomes another shell of himself, which becomes another kid. So clearly, that's the story is convoluted as shit, right?
Not,
Now,
not to mention that they lied, and I played Kingdom Hearts 1, and when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, I'm like, oh, okay, when I went to school, 2 came after 1. So this is the sequel to 1. They didn't fucking tell me that I had to play a Game Boy game to
oh,
figure out half the fucking story
yeah, I was
before I
I was
played
getting to
2.
that. I was gonna get to that. I understand you guys' frustrations. So, another gripe that the crew has about the Kingdom Hearts series is that in order to understand this completely convoluted story, you have to buy all the games, and all these games are dispersed into several different platforms. So, if you don't have the Game Boy Advance, you're SOL. They recently started making them together, but that's like years later, but that's beyond the point. So, if you didn't have any of these systems, including there was a game included in mobile as well. You were shit out of luck.
Yeah, the
And
mobile
you
game actually had story lore to it.
yes, that's what I'm saying. Like you had to play each and every single one to fully understand the convoluted story. Like, get what I just said. You had to play every single one to understand the convoluted story. And as you played all of them, you're still going to be left with questions. Um, so, um, me personally, like, I understand why everybody would have issues with it, but these guys know that I'm very story driven when it comes to games. That's second to, the mechanics, of course. Um, I like a good, well, I'm saying this. I like a good story when it
And
comes to
why'd you
video
play
games
that franchise?
because it started off well, and like I'm already, in it already. You know what I'm saying? I'm already in it. So I played one made sense, and then I went to go play the others. And as I kept going down the rabbit hole, I still don't understand entirely what the hell is going on.
With
Um
both.
so yeah. I chose the Kingdom Hearts franchise as my game that the crew frowns upon.
So before Kingdom Hearts 3 was released, Esoteric had forwarded me a YouTuber who actually, God bless his soul, who actually took the time to make sense of the Kingdom Hearts story timeline. And when I loaded the video and the little circle stopped spinning and it loaded up the time that the video it was 4 hours plus.
That's like longer than the Avengers movie.
4 hours plus. And honestly, I did try. And by 33 minutes, I was
Oh
still
damn.
confused and I stopped because I gave the video 33 minutes. And I after 33 minutes of me watching the amount of effort that this individual had put into his video, and I still don't understand the story, I'm not going to blame the individual. I'm just going to blame the fact that I think this guy who is the writer or the direction or whoever is in control of Kingdom Hearts storyline, I think he would just come up with shit when he goes to take a shit. And while it's coming out of his ass, he'll go, "Bingo, this is what we could do. Yeah, let's have this kid die to be reincarnated into another kid who he was reincarnated from another kid." It's just like who that kid then soul was split into two, so one became more prominent in the story than the original kid who even started the story. So it's just like for me, it was just like you guys were either the people who created the Kingdom Hearts franchise are their mind is on a genius level that I just cannot understand, or they was just like, hey, let's gather a group of
Nah.
6-year-olds to throw out ideas and we'll write them on a piece of
Yeah,
paper and
no,
put it
no,
together.
they just everybody's pulling shit out of their ass over there. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like
I I,
I
I
really
understand.
couldn't get it.
I understand where you guys are coming from. Like the story is extremely ambiguous and convoluted. So,
You
I can
keep
honestly
using that
admit that.
word. You're giving them a lot of credit by saying convoluted. I don't even think there's a word that exists for Kingdom Hearts storyline. I mean, the gameplay for Kingdom Hearts is fun in terms of like, the
Right.
action and the monsters are unique. It's fun to be able to summon Disney characters I like, such as Simba and Stitch, to help you in fights and to see them go through the Disney lore or realms. But I still need it to make sense to me. I it was just like I believe the original kid who's not Sora, the original Keyblade wielder who became Sora, his older friend became the main villain of Sora for Sora. I believe that's how it happened, and I don't even know what happened to the girl.
Well,
I don't even know what happened to her spirit.
I'm not gonna get into it for the sake of this stream. I'll probably break it down to you in pieces over the years.
Over the
So,
years.
because after 10 minutes, you're just gonna like go tone deaf and not listen to me.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
So yeah, that was my first entry. Kong looks bored just listening to it.
So, just to be clear, I don't think Kingdom Hearts is a bad game as a game. I think the gameplay, from what I've seen, because I've never played it, it looks fun. It does look good. But for me, and this is gonna get hate, but I'm gonna say it because it's the truth. The game just came off as lame to me. Everything about it was just like
He's such a heel, yo. He's such a
all
heel.
the characters look super feminine. And I'm like, Kingdom
Oh my
Hearts.
god! I can't believe he said that.
Pass. So I mean, listen, this came on the PS2 era. I'm playing
This
games
video's
like Shadow
going
of the
down.
Colossus. I mean, I don't give like whatever, man. I'm just being honest here. Playing Shadow of the Colossus. I'm playing Prince of Persia. You know, I'm playing some like some cool games. You know, I'll just say cool. Devil May Cry. You know, like stuff like that. And then people are like, you should play Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, the frick is a Kingdom Hearts? And they show me the cover and the gameplay, and it's you're teaming up with Mickey Mouse and Lilo and Stitch, and I'm like, get this garbage out of my face, man. That was my honest to God,
Listen,
that was my reaction.
In that
that-
game's defense, I have to say the prior Disney games that we have played, such as Aladdin, World of Illusions with Mickey and Donald, I believe that's what it's called. Like almost all the Disney games I played prior were phenomenal. So I was intrigued by this
Don't get me wrong,
collaboration.
I played the original Aladdin and Lion King and the Mickey Mouse Castle of Dark Illusions, I think it was. Like, those games are fucking awesome, and they still hold up to this day.
Absolutely.
I love those games. But you're talking about like teenage me.
True.
You know, in
yeah,
the PS2 era, it's just
I
a
get
different
it.
mentality. So I'll give its
Yeah.
due. Like, I don't think it's a bad game. I think if you're into RPG and action RPG specifically, you should try it and play it because it is a PS2 classic. Despite my disinterest in it, I'll admit it's a classic. It is in the top 10 best games on the platform. I'll give it that. But it's not for me. You know,
No, I get it.
it's just not for me. So play it if you like. If you hate me now because I don't like your favorite game, then take a number because that is the story of my life. I didn't know that the Samurai Warrior and like all those other one button games were called Wushu games. Is it Wushu or Mushu? Which one? M or
Mushu.
W? Which one?
M is an M.
I thought
Mushu.
Mushu was
Mushu.
love, like because in Rush Hour.
Love hitting
Well,
that one button.
Mushu
Love
just
those
means
combos.
Mushu just means warrior.
Okay,
So-
okay.
Ah.
So that's why they're Dynasty Warriors, and then they're Mushu, or yeah, whatever's the Chinese or Japanese word for Dynasty, then Mushu.
The more you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, I'm a brute player. I'm a unga bunga player. Like, give me stuff to hit. You know, like that. I'm simple. So
There's a lot of stuff to hit in Warriors games. It's like,
yeah, but it's boring.
That's all
There's
you
no
do
struggle.
is just hit.
There's no struggle.
I,
though.
a specific issue that I have with the Warriors games is, other than it being a, relatively one button you need, is just the fact that it can be very easy to lose what is exactly your goal.
Yeah,
Like
I can hear that.
at that point, you just start pushing buttons because you know that all your enemies are gonna fly across the arena because you hit them, and it's not it's not that I cannot play them, because I think it was, I don't know, Blanka Kong didn't play this one with us. I think it was the three of us that did the Gundam one.
yeah, 'cause they're
And
multiplayer.
right, we beat the whole story mode on the hardest difficulty the same night we started.
Yeah.
The same night. Now, mind you, we were
I remember
using
y'all
some
complaining about
pretty
that.
OP characters within that game. We were using the stronger ones, but the hardest difficulty, when hard in video games was actually hard, the same night, I was just like, this is a turn off. Like,
No,
You
I
know,
can't
for
deny
me,
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely one of my gripes, but overall I did like it because it encompassed what Gundam shows are about. You're a you're a unique Gundam that's like wreaking havoc on shit, throwing beams and killing hundreds and hundreds of mobile dolls, other Gundams. So
The
it
yeah,
it
but
idea
kind
of
of
that is cool,
it did
but I
that for
think in
me.
execution, it doesn't. For me, it doesn't tickle the right
anything.
nerves.
Yeah.
No, I get that. It was just that particular one. Like the other ones I can't really get into. It
All
was
right,
just, Gundam.
let's really break it down. Like as far as the Dynasty Warrior ones, I'm gonna put that aside for the minute. Even the Fire Emblem and the Zelda ones, I'm gonna put that aside for the minute because I definitely could see Link and Marth being overwhelmed by soldiers and goblins respective to their series.
Mhm.
But for the Gundam ones, the Gundam animes, they're not cartoons, they're animes. There's a difference. Um, if you really look at them by core, they're very controlled fights. The real only Gundam series, or one of the few Gundam series that went overboard with the many, or with the multiple people fighting in fast-paced fights, I believe was Seed. Um, because
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
even my favorite series, which was the Dragon Ball Z versions of Gundams, and they were still controlled to like one on one, like one Gundam versus one Gundam at a time. A lot of the Gundam animes, their fights are controlled. Um, so with that said, it was to me playing that one, running across the field or running through many enemies as I guess I'm going to use the word shining Gundam because or burning Gundam. Um, it just seemed like it didn't seem like I was connecting really with my character. All I felt like you just gave me a nuclear bomb and I dropped it. That's what
Oh,
I felt like.
oh,
You
I
know, like you gave
yeah.
me something way too powerful on these on these very feeble things to practice my power on. And it was just like this is just I like to be dominant in my video games, but the Mushu games don't give me that growth that I'm looking for to get there. From the struggle of having to grind the same enemy in the same area over and over and over again, finding a stronger weapon, beating certain bosses to get that weapon or armor or whatever, choosing right story paths to get certain characters. These are all elements in video games that I like because it allows me to eventually get to a point where I can say, okay, well, if I break the game or if I become real OP, I put in that real effort. It's Mushu games is more like you get cutscenes, you press one button to get through the cutscenes. If it's not, I don't think they do movie cutscenes. Um, and then boom, there you go, fight. And it's just like, okay, square, triangle, square, triangle. Oh, special gauges failed. Triangle and circle. Special move happens. 60 million people die. Big number appears on screen. Square. That's how I just that's me being very ignorant of the overall genre or type of video games they are. But that's just how I view them. Like it's
Yeah.
like
That's how you play them, and I can
mhm.
get into why I like them. How they, especially like with the Zelda ones, how they take Zelda, that's a slow game, and they apply Zelda characters to the fast-paced action of Mushu games. But that would take too long. But there's like,
But
yeah.
didn't you say that the Zelda games are more complex? I mean, the newer ones coming out are more complex now. Like they have more unique characters that do different things, or there's more to do in terms of like button sequences or weapons to choose from. I believe like Link can change his weapons, can he not?
Yeah. Link can use like a great sword, a sword, later the Master Sword. Yeah, he can use like three different weapons.
Yeah, so
And
I would say that adds depth to the game where the earlier Mushu games on the PS2 and the PS3 really wasn't delivering that.
Yeah, they weren't. A lot of the newer games since the mainline series is kind of crashed and burned. Um, a lot of the Warrior, the Zelda themed one, the Fire Emblem themed one, the Persona themed ones, they they take these games that you would think wouldn't fit that mold, and they show respect to the source material of each game, and they make it work. Like they make Zelda using the tablet, the Sheikah Slate, because that's her weapon in the Mushu game. It's the Sheikah Slate, and she uses it everything that Link uses in the Sheikah Slate. So bombs, the ability to stop time, the ice spell. She uses all of that in her attacks. So they made a character and a weapon that isn't a weapon in Breath of the Wild, an actual weapon that makes sense for that world. I mean, hell, in that game you use the three great fairies, and they made like those big ass women. They made them work realistically in the game. So like,
Mm.
but I do agree that if we go all the way back to Dynasty Warriors, yeah, it was like, Chinese man shoot with a sword swinging, other Chinese man with a spear. Yeah, it was very bare bones.
It was pretty dry what it was. It's like,
Yeah, it was. But I don't know, there's just something about it that, yeah, it's also its simplicity that sometimes, yeah, I can turn my brain off and just, unga bunga on my mythological battlefield.
oh,
Cool. So now that we got the whole Dynasty Warriors, Mushu, Wushu stuff out the way, I can understand like you need growth in your games, Dev, to feel Wolf, to feel like you've earned the power and not just be handed it
mhm.
after a cutscene. So I get that. So the next type of game that I play, that is kind of weird that other people in my group don't play, are what I'll call animal simulation games. So it would be games like Tokyo
Crossing.
Jungle. Which one?
Animal Crossing.
I absolutely don't play Animal Crossing.
He's gonna fight you live on stream.
The the games I'll actually play that I enjoy is when you play as an animal, and they try to make it as realistic as possible as a video game. So like Tokyo Jungle on PS3 would be an example of that. Deadly Creatures on the Wii, where you play as a spider and you're trying to just be a spider, and that's the whole game. I recently got this game called Away on PS4, and I haven't played it yet. But you play as a squirrel, like those flying squirrels. I forget what they're called, but
I think just that flying squirrels.
Yeah. I think
probably.
so.
But you play as that, and you have to like fight for survival and like fight other animals or whatever. And it's just that, like, there's no cutscenes, there's no talking. It's just you doing objectives: get food, climb this tree, find a new home, defend the family, like stuff like that. Those games are super fun. I think animals are fascinating in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love Pokemon and Monster Hunter and games like that, where it's like the more fictional, fantastical version of what we know as, real animals. But I also like the realistic stuff too. So like I'll even play games like Cabela's Hunting, even though that's not a good example of loving animals, but like just watching the animals interact in the wild and stuff is like like in Monster Hunter World. I spent like this is gonna sound pathetic, but I did it. I would track monsters literally, like I would follow them around and not engage them just to see what they would do.
You did that too?
I absolutely
did that too.
Yeah, so like I caught
did that
Anjanath
too.
taking a poop, like not like a poop appeared. No, he literally stopped to take a dump, and I saw
Yeah.
it come out and sit there, and him just walk away. I was like, "Holy crap, that just happened!" And I watched like Roffalos walk around, or not walk, but fly around the Elder's Recess and scratch walls and mark his territory and pick fights, and I'm like, "Yo, this is freaking cool!" And so there's something about that like is so cool in a video game, to like play as an animal and just watch other animals and like do animal stuff. I guess that's kind of similar to like my other entries, survival games. Maybe I have a nature fetish. I don't know, but That's a game that I know most other people don't play, or like animal simulation games.
I mean,
So that's
there
my
aren't
intro.
really a whole lot.
There aren't a
That
lot. No.
yeah, okay. Because I
Yeah.
remember I played Tokyo Jungle too, and that was an extremely interesting game.
Yeah, that game was
It's a
sick.
shame to see that it's like not kind of like still going on, because I think it wouldn't set the world on fire, but it have a dedicated base if they stuck with it.
I was thinking of
I
streaming
mean,
it. I still have it on PS3, so I might fire it up one day on stream.
I believe that was the game in college that we were looking at the trailer for, and it had like the Ferris wheel, I believe, and like not monsters, animals was like walking around. It was like post-apocalyptic, it kind of seemed like.
Yeah, the
Was that
world
it?
ended, and you're in like Japan, and you get to play as an animal after the humans basically are eradicated. And you just walk around as like a fucking dog or a cat,
Yeah, you
and
start
you're
off as
trying
like
to
a
survive.
Pomeranian, yeah.
Yeah, and then you could like unlock more animals. You could eventually play as like rhinos and giraffes and lions and all these other crazy animals, and then you can actually unlock. Like I think the last thing you can unlock is a human and play as a human, as like
Okay.
a caveman human. So that as I never got that far, but it was there. I remember seeing like videos of it and stuff. So it's
Okay.
pretty cool. I love that game.
So based off of like what you like, would you play that? I forgot the name of it, but it's basically you play as a shark and you're pretty much like eating people or trying
Oh,
to
I
knock
have
them
it.
off
I
the
bought it.
ship.
I bought it. I have it.
Okay.
I haven't played it yet, but I plan to.
oh, okay. Yeah,
And Maneater. I think it's
Maneater.
Maneater.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, Maneater.
Yeah, it
Maneater.
was on sale. I was like, I kind of want this, so I did buy it.
Yeah.
So I plan to play it.
Yeah, I get it. The extent of me playing that type of game, I told you about this game a few years ago. It was back on the PS1. It was called Spider, and you essentially
Yeah,
played as a bionic spider. You had like different bionic components on you, so you had like flamethrowers and stuff like that, but you still
that game looks super
maneuvered.
cool. But the difference
Mhm.
with that game is it's
Yeah, it's
it's
not realistic.
basically a platformer. Like
Yeah.
you could argue that a game like Jack and Daxter or Crash Bandicoot, oh, that's an animal game. It's like not really. It's just a platformer. That occupies a different genre in my opinion. I love those
Okay.
games too, but like with Tokyo Jungle, Dangerous Creatures on Wii, and Away on PS4, and Maneater on PS4. Like those games are more about you being the animal,
Yeah.
and the game being kind of like built around being this animal and doing whatever behaviors and things that animal does. So
Okay.
I don't know. That's kind of like sick to me. So
No, that makes sense. What
yeah.
about I believe it's called Mr. Mosquito.
Oh, I love that game. I love that game.
Okay.
I have it, a physical copy. I bought it like 20 years ago. I love that game. And the second Mr. Mosquito came out only in Japan, so I have to find a way to get like an English patch so I can play that because I haven't played that one.
Uh,
Another game that I want to try that I haven't tried yet. I'm trying to find a physical copy. I don't think they have it physical yet. Is a game called Humankind, and you play as an ape, and you have
Oh,
to
I've
like
heard. I've
yeah,
heard of that
you've
game.
heard of it. So I know it's
Yeah, yeah.
downloadable. It's like a $20 game. But that's another game that I've been looking at too, where you play as a monkey or an ape, and you have to like build your legacy as a
Early on in like the evolution of humanity,
yeah
if you subscribe to that belief.
yeah. Let's not open
Yeah.
that book, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that game looks really sick too. So like games like that are really fascinating to me, and I can really spend a lot of time playing those games, which is weird. Like you probably wouldn't expect that, knowing the kind of games that I play, but I love those games. So, and I know most of you guys don't really engage in that, or at least maybe you do, and I don't know about it.
Most I played was
Mhm.
Tokyo Jungle, but I've not. That type of game is just so rare in and of itself. You can
Yeah,
count the number of them on a hand.
yeah. That's why I was confused as to what to even call it. It's like animal
Yeah,
simulation, I guess.
yeah, I'd give it that name if I had to give it one.
So yeah, that's my
Yeah, I
entry.
would give it that.
So Wolf,
Anybody else?
do you have another one?
I guess I have more of a guilty pleasure, not necessarily like genre of game that you guys, because every other genre of game that I play, at least two of you will, at least a few of you will join me. You know, like the fighting games, I have Esoteric and another one to play with. Even you, Blanka, will get on line with me from time to time with fighting games. RPGs, pretty much all of us played in some form or fashion. So I would say more so my guilty pleasure that you guys probably will indulge in, unlike me, is I guess slowing my game progress to or min-maxing everything that I do. A lot of people, I guess, that I know that plays video games would prefer to just play the video game. But for me, it's a roadmap to perfection. For me, that's
Makes
how I
sense.
play my video games.
Makes
So if I'm gonna play a game, well, that's story driven or that's, you know, stats based or where you build yourself up in any form or fashion, I want the best of the best. So like I remember when we played Monster Hunter World, I was going crazy trying to find what they were called decorations.
Yeah,
Which was,
decorations.
I think it was to get a specific skill, which I'll say because you guys know what it is. It was the expert +2 deco.
Yeah.
There was a specific mission that was claimed to drop most of it, which would have given me perfect skills on the armor set that I
The
had.
Zenoga, right?
And while, huh?
The Zenoga
The
quest?
Zenoga one, right? Remember,
Yeah,
me and you must have killed like 100 of those,
at least.
at least. Um, And even though my armor set worked without that decoration, just seeing that number that wasn't that perfect even number on my character stat, it bugged me so much that I killed 100 of those guys, of those Zenogres to get the expert deco. Until 3 months later, they gave it to me in the rewards just for playing the
Ain't
Yeah.
that how it goes?
game.
Hey, be thankful. Some people never even gotten,
Dude,
their
I
items,
did it. I didn't get an
So,
attack decoration till Iceborne.
me
Me
neither.
too.
So that's just the way I am. I spent a whole summer farming my characters to perfect levels in Final Fantasy IV because the Fire Mage boss was giving me a hard time and I didn't feel adequate in the game. So I needed to become adequate. And from there on, I kind of put myself in a mode where it's just like, okay, well, this is the best weapon I can get at this time. I farmed myself all the way to level 99 because I lost to that boss twice and I didn't like it.
He hurt
Blanka
my
Kong was there, and
feelings.
Blanka Kong was there when I played Pokemon Emerald. I didn't need to do the Battle Frontier. I didn't need the gold badges, mind you. So you get the regular 8 badges that you get for playing the story from each gym leader. When you enter the Battle Frontier, there are 7 additional strong trainers. The first time you beat them, you get silver badges. The next time you beat them, those silver badges turn gold. I felt I needed to have all 7 gold badges because that was something that I could obtain in the game with the dedication and work I put in. And it drove me mad. That was one of the few games that allowed me to that I think I started to gain gray hair, to grow gray hair out of stress of playing um the randomness and the unfairness, and I feel blatant cheating that the Battle Frontier and Pokemon Emerald um, placed upon you as a gamer.
You mean the RNG?
BS. It was cheat. They cheated me many times in that mode. None of you, however, unfortunately, do what I do. Um, it's just more so, okay, well, I got this. I'm good. Move on.
I'm on literally the opposite
depends.
side of the spectrum. I don't like you like to research stuff and kind of plan ahead and all this, and I hate
Yeah.
doing that because not because I can't do it or not because it's like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I like to experience things as raw as possible. Like I like the surprise, like discovery and like
Going to
learning
Mhm.
like naturally instead of just like having a fucking FAQ opened up on like my second monitor or on like my phone. I
Mhm.
don't like it. It's like let me discover it. Let me figure it out. So while your thing is like road to perfection, for me it's like literally the opposite. It's road to like, you know, wherever. Like I just want to experience. I just want the ride. So
Yeah, I get that. I think I'm kind of in between. It depends upon the game. Like if it's a tactical RPG, then yeah, I will min max because Disgaea has so many components where you have to make your units better by combining them with like other units and weapons and so on. So it's essential to get through the game. But if it's something like the Souls games, it's like, okay, well, I can do without having to figure out or what is the greatest potential attack I can do. Like I'll just struggle through it and figure out what each skill is for and so on.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in between.
Which is funny because I'm the opposite way in Souls games. I like to optimize my build because I don't want to feel like I'm wasting time, which I'm playing like video game. One can argue I'm already wasting time, but I don't want to put that one extra point in dexterity when all I needed to do was hit 30 to hit the soft cap of dexterity. Like that one extra point is gonna bother me, even though in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean something. But to
Mhm.
me, it's like that point could have gone into stamina, vitality,
Yeah.
attack, and been better used there than one extra skill off the soft cap. So I'm the opposite in that regard, and I do relate to Wolf, but just not to that degree. Like I like to research and plan out what I'm going to do in an RPG, but I will hit a point unless I'm truly passionate. I will hit a point where it's like this is good enough. So he'll go beyond that. I will hit that point when it's like this is good enough.
Yeah. I'll go to the point where even playing like we talked earlier about the Persona series, I'll go to the
Right.
point where I'll research who am I going to quote unquote romance by the end of the game from the beginning of the game. So I've already set up, okay, well, this character is who I'm going to romance because this character has something that I want at the end of our relationship trial for the video game. So it's just from like, especially RPGs, I need to know who's the best, how are they the best, for how long are they the best for, so that I don't like, oh, build this healer who, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's cut that. I'll give you
Our
an
Ocean.
example. In Star Ocean, hey, there we go.
Oh my
Star
god.
Ocean Star Ocean 4 has a character that they give you in the beginning. He's a
Phase.
pretty cool character. You know, he's elemental mage like character. He can do earth magic, fire magic, lightning magic. By the end of the game, you lose him because he's the main villain.
It was a goddamn sham, yo. I hated that shit so much
If
because I put
I
a
didn't
lot
do
of into him.
if I
Yeah.
didn't do my research, not that I spoiled the, not that, because I found out he was the final villain when I got to that point in the game. So that wasn't spoiled for me. I just listened to what other people were saying, and a lot of people online said, do not invest into him, or they regret investing into him. And they also pointed out other characters that were better mages, even though he had the elemental wide spectrum. So, with that said, I didn't focus on him. So when I got to the end of the game, it turned out that he was the final villain, and I lost him as a character anyways. So, and that's how it is sometimes in the Tales series, the Tales of series, Tales of Symphonia, Tales of Abyss. You'll get a character, and you think they're going to be with you through the whole storyline,
Yeah, and you
but you
lose
end
them.
up losing them. So I need to know who am I truly going to invest
I
into
see, like I
before I
respect
even
that,
start.
but like to me, you see Esoteric's reaction when you brought it up. Like he was
It was
genuinely
Yeah.
upset.
yeah.
Like to me,
Mm.
I rather feel that way because that's real emotion and that's real attachment. And to me, you cheated yourself out of that attachment, and that's why it's like a whatever to you. Whereas to him, it's like it feels like betrayal. Like fuck that character, right? Like, and that was the design, right? So like to me, it's like you
Mm.
cheated yourself out of that potential emotion, and that's kind of like what I want.
Yeah, because initially, looking at it subjectively, I was very pissed. Like I was really upset because it was only logical to invest, your time into this character because he was really potentially good. However, looking at it objectively, that was a good like mechanical scheme because it was like for him to not only for you to not only lose him but him be the final villain. It was like shit that really hurts. Like the,
Right.
it kind of really got me. So it was a good element to have objectively, but subjectively I'm still fucking pissed.
Right, and I'd rather be
I
super
think, but yeah,
pissed.
I'll admit, it did cushion because like I said, I found out he was the final villain at the end of the game, so I didn't know I would end up having to fight him. I just, based on the research, it just said, okay, well, I believe it was the little girl who was, I forgot her
Limo.
name. Yeah, Limo. I believe her character
Limo.
was the better mage between the two of them. Yeah, that's her name. Come on, we're talking about Japanese RPG here. Their name could be anything. So,
Yeah.
and it'll work. So, um, so with that said, they said that, okay, well, use the little girl because she had better stats as a mage. Anyways, she just didn't have the elemental. I don't think she had the elemental advantage that
No,
he had.
she didn't.
So when I found out that he was the villain, I was like, oh shit, this little asshole is the villain. Wow, that is crazy. That blew my mind. But then I was able to sit back in my chair and relax and was like, well, it's a lucky thing I didn't invest in him anyway. And kept going.
For me,
So
it made me want to kill him more. Like it made me want to, because not only did you pretend to join my squad, you also are the reason why I'm even on this journey. So it was like it was like Jigglypuff double slap. It was just okay. I got you. So
yeah,
Well, I say that's a
that's
hell of
my
a
game.
heel turn. But anyway, that's for my wrestling fans out there. Cool. So that was our topic for today for this week's podcast. Is gaming guilty pleasures or games that your uh circle of friends frown upon or don't understand. That was an interesting topic. We had some interesting entries. We film a podcast every week. We publish every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So subscribe if you want to be notified when those videos go live. We also do other kinds of content. We also stream on Twitch. So the man to my you're viewing this, so to the left, to the right, he streams on Twitch under Logical Gamers TV every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check him out. He usually plays a lot of single player adventure games, a lot of stuff you'll find on modern consoles, PS4, PS5, etc. I stream as well. I don't have a set schedule, so just catch me when you can. Those videos do get re-uploaded to YouTube, so if you ever miss a stream, you're able to watch it on YouTube in its entirety. Yeah, so that's it. So let us know down below the games that maybe your guilty pleasures. Maybe there are some games that you play that your friends don't like. Maybe there's something that was mentioned here that you also like, and so you can kind of relate to one of us. Let us know. Like the video if you enjoyed the conversation. Dislike if you thought the conversation was not good. Either way, we appreciate the interaction. Either way. So, Mr. Esoteric, can you tell them where to find us on the socials?
sure. So, ladies and gents, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Logical Gamers TV. Just look for the light bulb symbol, and you're there. You found us.
It's that easy. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Peace.
Easy.
Peace.